Hello, it's David Ship here from Coaching Construction, and welcome to this video to do with the NLP communication model. Now, I refer to this model a lot of times when I do videos or when I do articles or blogs or anything really, because it was certainly something when I came across it explained a lot to do with human behaviour, to do with management, to do with employee engagement, and just generally just life really, because to me is the interaction with people, whether it's your family, your friends, your work colleagues, is one of the things that can cause the most stress, and but equally it can create the most pleasure. So learning this model, it was a game changer for me really, because it helped me in work, but it also helped me in my home life as well with my family. So we'll run through it. We'll see how much detail we get to. I'm sure there'll be other videos to do with this, because there's so many different topics, because humans, we are all very complex individuals, and it will explain the reason really, like why people are different. And this is key if you're a manager or supervisor or foreman, or anybody really, in whether you're whether in the hierarchy of management you're down at the bottom or you're at the top. An understanding of yourself and others in terms of this is key to what you want to do. We talk about in management, and we want to influence people, and without knowing this, I really don't know how you actually learn how to influence people. So that's another thing. I won't go too much into the benefits, because I could be here for the whole video really talking about the benefits, but I'd be interested to see what you think and whether you come across this before. But as I say, it was a game changer for me, so let's go straight into it. So what this is talking about is that on a day-to-day basis, minute-to-minute basis, second-by-second basis, is like why people do the things they do. And if we can understand why people do the things they do, then we have a opportunity to look at, well, how do we change something there that will get a different outcome. So whether that's when you're managing someone and trying to get a different outcome from that person, or equally if you're looking at yourself and personal development, is then why am I doing the things I'm doing when I don't want to be doing those things, and I want to make a change, then again this helps to look at that. So in any given moment, I hope you like the drawing of the person there, we are experiencing events. Now, events isn't like music gigs and theatre and all things like that. It can be anything that we are experiencing at any given moment in time. And the way we experience this is through our senses. So we're looking at, we're seeing things, we're hearing things, we're feeling things, we're smelling things, and we're tasting things. They're the main ones when we look at like the different senses we have. So all these things going on second by second basis, millisecond basis, is that we're experiencing events all the time, and we're experiencing them through our senses. You're watching this video, you're hearing me speak, and you're seeing me on this video. What else? Feeling wise, yes, you may have a feeling in terms of where you're sat, but it's nothing to do with me. That's just where you're sat. You might be sat in a chair, you might be holding the arms of the chair, and there's a feeling there. The other thing is to remember is that feeling can also be like emotional feeling as well, and we'll come up to that. We'll come to that in a moment. In terms of taste and smell, wherever you're sitting, you might be smelling cooking, or there might be air freshener, or any kinds of things. But at any moment in time, our five senses mainly are experiencing the world. So we experience, they say that there are millions of bits of information that we're experiencing at any given moment, which is quite understandable. Now what happens then is that, because if we took everything into our brains and minds and try to function it. I mean, we could go and talk about the unconscious and conscious mind, because when you think about it, we're breathing now and we're not even thinking about it. Like, our body is running itself by its breathing. Our heart is pumping blood around our body. Our veins are like pushing that. Like, there's all different things that are going on in our body, like, that we're not really controlling. We can take control of our breathing, but, you know, taking control of our heartbeat, then I'm sure there are people out there, like, if you YouTube that, you'll probably find it. But a lot of things going on there that you can't influence. But what our makeup and I suppose our biology and everything else has enabled us to do is filter out certain things. So if we move on to here, so we're experiencing the world at different events, and what we have is, with that information that's coming at us, all those millions and trillions of bits of information, is that we're filtering the things that are going on. We're you know, unconsciously we're doing this, because you would not be able to, like, deal with that amount of information. I think they say between 5 and 7, or 5 and 9, or 7 and 9 bits of information you can actually deal with at any one time. The reason why they say is because if you get someone to I don't know, name some cars, then they'll probably only get to about you know, 9 bits of information there, like through memory and stuff. So we're filtering. That's what everybody does. There's like something going on, we're experiencing it, and we're filtering what it means to us. Because so we're looking at here is, like, you know, things like values and beliefs. So is this important to me? So that's what values is, like, is this important to me? Does this fit my value profile? Now, everybody is different in terms of their values. Everybody thinks that different things are higher on their values to others. A great example is this, is like, if you look at who are your friends, they will often share values that you share. The people that are not your friends, again, will share predominantly values that are not your values. So one of my biggest values is honesty. And if people come into my life and I know that they're dishonest, then really they're not a friend. They're, you know, it goes against my filter and my values. So it's just an example. Think about your values, like, what are the things that are most important to you, and you'll see that the people in your life share them predominantly. And then the people that don't share those values, they're probably people that aren't as close to you in your life. Beliefs, so again, you know, like beliefs can be all different things. So they can be religious beliefs, they can be you know, what happens in the world, and beliefs about yourself, and all different things. So some more filters is experiences. So has this happened before? Is this always happening? Has it never happened before? Is it important to me? And then memories. So it's kind of similar with experiences, but it definitely has a filter to why you do the things you do. So we've gone through, things are always going on, we're sensing them through our body, and our unconscious mind is, unless we become aware of it, is filtering out the things that are you know, are important, and the other things that aren't, to deal with all of those bits of information and to actually come up with the things that are important. So moving on, what that does is that, if you can imagine, if there is something going on and you've filtered it, then there's a result from that filtration, shall we say. And then that moves us on to 3 things that happens within us. So the first thing here is internal representation. So internal representation is I suppose with all the information that's come in and you've filtered it, you've built a picture inside your mind, is that, like, what that actually means. So it can be on an unconscious level, but there is definitely something that, you know, it's kind of this was the whole, and then this is being filtered, and then this is the actual part of that information that you've taken on board. In combination with that, you also have a physiological reaction to it as well. So probably best to go through an example here is that you might have an event of, so one of the trainings that I've done is to do with toolbox talks, and the main thing about that training is like delivering it. And we as a human race is that I think public speaking is higher up the fears. Like there's, you know, if there was a top 10 fears in the world, then public speaking is higher than death, which you may agree with, you may disagree, but I'm sure they've, like, I don't know how big a study it was, but it's definitely very high up there in terms of like a fearful occasions. So if you can imagine that, like like the event maybe is someone's asking you to do a toolbox talk or a briefing or a presentation, and in terms of your filters is that, you know, values wise, I suppose it depends if you feel that it's important, it's high in your values. Beliefs, it may be like, you know, why am I doing it? Like, I don't believe that I should be doing it, someone else should be doing it. Experiences, it all depends on, like, you know, what your experiences up to date have been in terms of briefings and presentations, and how that's going to actually impact your through filtering. If you know that you're going to do a presentation and all your experiences in the past have been bad, then that internal representation is going to be like, this is not going to be a good thing. And then obviously memories is to do that as well. So physiologically is that if you're being put into a position that, you know, you don't want to be, then you're going to have a reaction within your body that is, you know, it's not going to be good. On the other hand, it might be that it's something that you do want to do, and physiologically you are going to be more, you know, this is all automatic. You're going to be more, yes, I'm excited, I'm confident, I'm going to do this thing. It brings us on to the final thing here that all these filters do, is that there's a state we're in. Now, when we talk about state, it's not like oh, you're a real state. Like it's more about that there are many different states you can be in. So you can be in, and too many to, you know, that's an individual kind of perception as well. But it's definitely that you can be in a confident state, you can be in a happy state, you can be like in a sad state, you can be disappointed, you can be frustrated. All these different states, however you describe them, but there is those three things from an event happening. It's filtered because you cannot deal with all that information. It's your unconscious mind, your body has picked out the most important things, and then what that's done is basically like built a picture of what that means. There's a reaction in your body, and then just generally there is you are in a specific state, whether that's like good, bad, however you label it. Now, the important thing about this, and the reason why I think this is a great model to learn, and the reason why I'm sharing it with yourself, is because what this all leads to is what you see. Now, what you see from someone is their behavior. So it's a great model, as I say, because what it shows is that at any given moment in time, we are all experiencing events, however they are, like whether they're kind of like, you know, a physical event or even like a thought in their minds. Then where we go through like a filtering process, it builds this internal representation of what's actually going on, physiological changes, and then we're in a certain state, and that actually drives our behavior. So let's go back to the presentation example. So someone's your project manager has come up to you and said, right, you need to deliver this presentation, it's 20 minutes long, and it's tomorrow morning. Now you're going to filter and kind of go, you know, through here and kind of go, right, if you don't mind doing it, then yes, that's fine. If you do mind doing it, then that isn't going to be as, you know, a good a situation. But there's going to be like state-wise, there might be kind of like panic. And then what that'll do is it will actually drive your behavior of actually what you do. But what's crazy is this is going on every single second, every single millisecond. And when you actually, shall we say, put a mirror down here and put this on the other side. So you are always having a conversation with someone else, and they're having a internal representation of that conversation and what you're saying, and you're having an internal representation of what you're saying. And the only thing really, you don't see this, and you might see the physiology, and you can definitely like feel the state they're in, but you'll basically see the behavior. So there are so many things that we can look at with this model in terms of how you influence people. So the influence people is like, through these filters. So one of the things I used to do when I was managing was to find out what's important to people, because if you want to influence someone, first of all, you need them to trust you, and in most cases you need them to like you. If you can share their values, even though if you don't believe in their values, but it is your role as a manager to actually influence them and get them to do things, is that if you can make someone realize that whatever you're asking them to do, and whatever behavior you want them to do is linked to their highest values, it will be a lot easier for them to do that. Equally, beliefs, they're all very difficult to do, but there is this is the place where things change. Certain events you cannot help, but really in here is like the filters is the way to actually change and influence people as you're managing them. So I wanted to share this model. As I say, there's so much more I can discuss about here and how it relates to management and employee engagement and presentation skills and soft skills and all these different things, but it's definitely one of those ones that it's I've tried to make it as simple as possible, because there's other things I could add on there in terms of filters, but we'll leave this video here for now, and I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've come across it before and you've got an opinion on it, please comment below, and I'd be really interested to see what you think. And if you've got any questions, then obviously contact us at office@coachingconstruction.com, or follow us on most of the social media platforms. And if you've got any questions, then please do ask, because I think it's a great model. It's been a game changer for me in terms of my life and in my career. And that's all for now. Thank you for watching. It's David Shipp for Coaching Construction, and take care and stay safe.